Okay, well, welcome everybody. Just want to give everybody a minute here to get the audio part ready to go. My name is Ladd Nelson with Carlson Software. We'll be going through some features today inside of the Carlson 2009, specifically talking about some of the hot new features that are found in Carlson 2009. With me today is Dave Sanford, who is our South Region Civil Sales Rep, and also standing by in the wings is Gary Rosen, who's our Northeast Civil Sales Representative, and put our contact information up here on the screen for anybody in case there's any questions after the presentation to Dave. If anybody would like to talk to either Dave or myself or even Gary, feel free to get a hold of us at either our emails or our phone numbers listed here on the screen. I do just have a brief introduction to what we'll be talking about today, and then we'll jump right into the software here in just a few moments. Before I get into it, I do want to talk a little bit about what our Carlson Civil is all about. Basically, it's just a real powerful 2D, 3D civil design software program. You'll be seeing a lot of surface modeling kinds of considerations, site grading, some things with aerial images, some new features with our design pad template routine, and all these are found inside of the AutoCAD and IntelliCAD environment, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Carlson Civil is one component of the Carlson Civil Suite. The Civil Suite right now retails for $3,500 and includes our civil functionality along with survey, hydro, and GIS. I should also mention, if you are having problems hearing the audio, which you probably may or may not be, depending on the thing, get down in here and dial the audio phone number and the access code to get into today's audio portion. Some top 10 features about Carlson Civil. Number one is our RoadNet functionality. You'll see some pretty advanced things today with some roundabouts and cul-de-sacs and four-way intersections and T-intersections. Lots of different scenarios for laying out roads and roadway networks. And as I mentioned earlier, Carlson Civil works with any version of AutoCAD from AutoCAD 2000 up through and including AutoCAD 2009, all the map variants thereof, Land Desktop, and even Civil 3D. If you have that as a CAD engine and you want to use Carlson Civil, you're certainly able to do that. Also with 2009 is our IntelliCAD engine, which is included with the software at no extra charge. So you have the ability to read and write the DWG files that you might already have in your office using IntelliCAD. So it's there available to you, like I said, at no extra charge. Obviously, our technical support has been widely known as being one of the best in the industry. It's free to all subscribers, so if you have questions, give us a call, and we'll help you out as best we can. And another thing I want to just touch on here is that all of the entities that we'll be talking about and working with today inside of the IntelliCAD environment are basically native AutoCAD type of entities, polylines, text, blocks of attributes, things like that. They're not customary AirX objects. They're just simple, standard AutoCAD entities. We put all the intelligence in the code rather than in the objects to make everything do what you're going to be seeing here in just a minute. A few other quick things. We are an independent company, so being independent allows us to be sort of nimble and quick as there's changes that are needed to occur either in the software product or to our offering as a whole. We can react very quickly. We also provide data compatibility to different software programs out there, whether it's direct through conversions we provide or through what we call a land XML file format. You can move your data around to different applications as you see fit. So with that, I just wanted to sort of touch on the fact that we have some real powerful functionality. It's a super simple program to learn, and we feel it's one of the best out there, and hopefully today you'll see some of the improvements that have been made to Carlson 2009 that sort of add credence to that statement. So to start off with, one of the brand new features found inside of Carlson 2009 is actually not in the software. It's actually part of our maintenance program. Our maintenance program, which provides you the ability to keep your software current, is basically just 10% of the suggested retail price of the product. So for the Civil Suite, it is $350. And for the that basically gets you 1 year's worth of products and are shipped to you free of charge. All right. Another new feature that's just been added recently is our 3-year maintenance program. Again, this is a completely optional component to our subscription prices or packages, and the cost there is actually just 15% of the retail price. So on our Civil Suite example earlier of $3,500, you could actually get 3 years worth of product upgrades and enhancements for only $525. And when you average that out over a 3-year span, the annual 1-year cost is $175. So it's a real cost-effective and affordable way to keep your software current and make sure that you're keeping up with all the technology that is being produced by Carlson Software.
Hey, Ladd?
Yes.
Excuse me just 1 second. I just wanted to add quickly 2 things. One is if anybody has questions while this is going, your phones are not, you can't talk into the phone line, but you can type your questions, and I'll be keeping an eye on that and answer them as we go, and then also present some to you, towards the end or whenever you'd like. Just let me know. So I just wanted to make sure we covered that. And the other thing, real quick, is I think you had mentioned about tech support being part of subscription. I just wanted to clarify that unlimited free tech support is for anyone who's using the software, even if you're just trying a demo. Unlimited free tech support is not part of the maintenance or the plan. You basically get that as any customer gets unlimited free tech support. Just wanted to clarify.
You're right. Okay. I probably didn't word that the way I should have, but yes, you're absolutely right. So, like I said, if you got questions or problems, give our tech support staff a call, and we'll help you out. So, with that, we're actually going to jump right into the Carlson Civil 2009 product, and today I'm going to show the software working inside of the IntelliCAD engine. And for those users who are familiar with Carlson software working in the AutoCAD environment, you're going to see a lot of similar functionality working inside of IntelliCAD. The interface is remarkably similar. It's going to look and behave very similar to what you would see in AutoCAD. So again, some of the things I'll be talking about here today are geared, and this is software that basically ships right out of the box. So with that, I'm going to just start up a brand new project in here and get in some data. So I'm going to set up my project folder, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it that I actually want to put my data into, for example, a What's New folder. And I'll maybe just call this a base map drawing that I'll be working with today. And we'll produce this basemap.dwg file. Continue through my setup wizard in here, and I'll be creating a coordinate file in here in just a minute that will contain my point data. And we'll go ahead and just click on Next, and that'll take us right into Carlson working inside of IntelliCAD. So again, for users who are familiar with the software interface of Carlson inside of AutoCAD, you're going to see a lot of very similar looking features. For example, the first 7 menus, files up through points, are common to all the different software products, whether it's Civil or Survey or Hydro or GIS. These first 7 menus are available to all those different products. Right now I'm configured inside of the Civil environment, so I now have 3D data, my surface menus, the ability to do rows and center lines and profiles and sections, and we'll talk more about some of these features here in just a little bit. We have the standard command line interface, so if you are familiar with working with the command line inside of AutoCAD, it's very similar inside of IntelliCAD. And again, it provides a very familiar environment working, so the transition from AutoCAD into IntelliCAD is actually pretty easy. All right. So with that, we're going to get into some of the data in here. One of the first things I'm going to do is bring in an aerial image. I want to place an aerial image into my site, and we're going to talk a little bit about, again, some of the new things that are found inside of Carlson's software. So with that, I'm going to go into a grouping of menus. I'm going to go into my survey menus to start off with. And inside of my survey menus, we have a GIS menu, and that will allow me to go through and place a image by a world file. You'll also see here that we do also offer the support for the Mr. Sid image type. So if you have either Mr. Sid's or GeoTIFF files, for example, you can bring those in and lay those right into your drawing. So I've got actually a GeoTIFF file ready to go. I've called it Prairie Hawk, and here's my GeoTIFF world file. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in and just perform a quick zoom extent through my command prompt, and here's the backdrop to the data set and the site that I'll be working with today. Okay. And in addition to that, I've got some data that I want to bring in and use. Today we're not going to be spending a lot of time talking about the creation of the data. Those have been covered in other webinars and will be covered in other upcoming webinars. So today I'm going to sort of shortcut the process a little bit and bring in some data through this land XML file that we talked about just a little bit ago. So I'll be bringing in some import data from my Prairie Hawk points and center lines and profiles and actually a surface model down here at the bottom. So I'm going to bring all these files in. I'll let it just automatically name them for me. They're going to go into my What's New project folder that I just created a bit ago, and we'll just bring this in. So we'll bring, again, a large amount of data here in a relatively short amount of time. And as this is coming in, one of the things that I wanted to touch on was another behind-the-scenes new feature inside of the Carlson Civil product, which is the inclusion of the National CAD Standards drawing templates, if you will. So if you have if you adopt or if you want to take and work with the National CAD Standards drawings, for example, you can see in here that I've got my civil topo major layer where my major contour layers have come into. So what I can do is I want to take a look at this. I'm going to go right into my Carlson configure. We'll take a look at some of my start-off options, and I am telling the software that I want to use the Carlson National CAD Standard Civil.dwt file. So again, this is just one more way of bringing data into your environment and having it follow, for example, a CAD standard, the National CAD standard in this case. So you can make this whatever you want. Just realize that the National CAD standards are now included with the software product. So we've got, again, a lot of stuff to cover in here today, so I'll be going relatively quick through a lot of these different features. One of the next things I want to bring in and talk about is our new and improved Drawing Explorer. So we've brought in some data, and actually before I do that, I would like to also maybe just do some quick field to finish work with some of the coordinates that I have in my data set. So I'm going to switch back over to my survey menu now and go into Draw Field to Finish. And I have some data points that have been found in here. I want to find out if I want to split these codes. I've got an iron pin that's going to be closing my property boundary in here, so I'm going to say no, I do not want to split this multiple code. We'll just choose OK. And I'm going to use the default Carlson FLD field file format, and I'll just go ahead and choose OK and draw this in here. And what will happen in here now is, and I do need to make one subtle little change. You see I've got a utility line that's coming through here where the power poles are at. I've got my boundary line that's coming in. I needed to quickly close this up, and because I didn't do that, I'm going to go ahead and just make a quick little change to my files in here. I'm going to say for my special codes, I want to close with a CLF designator, not the C designator that I had in here originally. So I'll just go ahead and choose OK, and I'll just simply redraw this, and we'll take a look. And now you can see I actually have my parcel boundary sort of closing up on itself and giving me the ability to see where my project site's going to be at in the real world. Okay, so we've brought in some data now through Field to Finish. Not a lot of data, just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is, for the sake of the presentation of the web, I'm going to go ahead and have the software. So I'm going to turn off the layer, the imagery in the background in here. So I'm going to go in and just go ahead and do a view, and I'm going to freeze layers. And I'm going to go ahead and just pick this guy. There we go. And that should hopefully help clean up the regen time. All right. So as we go forward, one of the things that I want to do now is take a look at some of the aerial imagery as it pertains to the surface. So we had it in the background in here. Maybe I'd like to see how does this aerial image look draped onto the surface model that I've got. All right, so I'm going to go into my settings menu and switch back into the civil menu now. And I want to go into a command inside of our surface menu called 3D Views, and then our Surface 3D Flyover. Okay. And in here, I have the ability now to choose a surface model, a TIN file that we brought in through that land XML file, and a 3D texture image that I want to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that same Prairie Hawk TIFF file that we opened up just a little bit ago, and I'll take a look at this now in sort of an environment here. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually pick on a polyline, maybe this guy. Actually, that's not what I want. We'll go ahead and just choose a free flight option in here, and we'll say OK. Actually, I don't think I got my texture image again here, so I'll just go ahead and reselect that. There we go. And I'll just choose that I want to maybe start up here in the northwest corner. I want to sort of point myself off in this direction, and we're going to go ahead and drape this aerial image onto into my Prairie Hawk tin or surface model file. So we'll load it up, bring it into sort of this viewer in here. Maybe I'll change myself into a D8, and I will put myself into a bird's eye view. And I'll also just exaggerate this a little bit, maybe by a factor of 3, so you can actually see some of the relief that's going on. And if we want to take a look at the site in here, again, you can see how and I'll speed this up just a little bit, how the image that's displayed in the background is actually morphing itself into the surface model that has been provided to us through this land XML file. So again, some of the very new features that are found inside of Carlson Civil 2009 are really great for presentation purposes. If you want to see how the site's going to behave and look either before, during, or after your design process, again, Carlson 2009 provides you the ability to do that. Okay. So with that, I'm going to just stop out of here, and we'll take a look and at some other new features that are found inside of the software. All right. So as we brought in our land XML file, we brought in, like I said, a series of roads, center lines. We got some profile data, and I've got a roadway network and a lot network that's basically set up and ready to go. So we'll sort of dispense with the pleasantries here, and actually I'm going to just go ahead and draw in the center line file that I've brought in through land XML. And I've got my National CAD standards layer going in here, and I'm going to go and grab each of these center line alignments, and you'll see them coming into my drawing. And I'll just grab each of these here in sequence. And I'm just doing this just purely for spatial purposes, just so you can sort of see where we're at on the site, what's actually going to be happening here. And I've got a total of 7 different alignments. I've got a roundabout that's going to be coming into the site right in here, and then a great big loop that's going to be occurring up in the northerly part of the site. And all of these alignments together are going to sort of form the basis of my roadway network. What we'll be doing in addition to this roundabout that's in here is also putting in a cul-de-sac. We'll be putting in some lots that are in here and taking a look at how all this information can be brought together in sort of this 2D, 3D world. So the other thing I'm going to do is also just freeze off my contours in here. We don't need to see those anymore. So I'm going to go back into my view menu, and I'll just freeze off that and that, and we're done. Okay, so one of the first things I want to do is create a area of study for some easements that are going through for my utility lines that's running through the middle of my site. So as we're developing some parcels or some lots with our LotNET program, I do not want parcels to be developed underneath my power lines. The other thing I want to do is maybe I want to set up some green space up inside of each of these areas in here and see how we can have some lots sort of form around those. So I'll start off by just doing a simple offset routine. And I'm going to say that I want to have this utility line maybe just run through my property boundary right in here. I just want to have that go right through that corner right in there. And we'll also sort of offset this same thing, maybe a distance of, I don't know, how about 57 feet to the north. So we'll pick up this guy right here, and we'll just offset in that location. And my utility is not quite centered inside of my easement, but I did want to have, again, an area where this is going to be sort of an exclusion area for my lots that are going to be coming in here in just a little bit. So the next thing we're also going to do is maybe form a closed region, because right now we just sort of have these lines in here. I'm going to go ahead and just change these guys as layers and set them actually into the proper layer for my National CAD standards in here. So I'm going to go into my civil and then easement, and then I'll just say this is on my electrical layer, so you can see the colors changing here based on the new layers that these have been assigned to. And I'm going to go and draw a boundary polyline that's forming a region between my parcel boundary line and then each of these two easement lines. And within this boundary line, I'm going to go ahead and again put this on my easement electrical layer and just pick inside of this area, and I've got a line now that's been drawn inside of this area. For some of this area up in here, what I'm going to do is actually show another command, and that's just a simple bpoly command, the boundary poly inside of IntelliCAD. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out maybe this and my roundabout center line. And we'll select an area inside of here and another area inside of here. And these are going to be the formations for my green space area. And I'm just going to create and offset each of these, maybe a distance of, I don't know, let's say 300 feet to the inside. So we'll pick up that guy right there and offset him inside. And we'll do this one and bring him inside as well. So I have maybe areas of green space that I want to set up for playground equipment or fields or just open space for the houses and the lots they're going to be put in here in just a minute. So we've got a lot of our areas put in. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of my source entities. There we go. And I'll just redraw this. And we're going to talk now about one of the other new features found inside of Carlson 2009, and that is the area of the sub-areas inside of our lot network routine. So first off, we'll take a look at our LotNet settings. And I'm going to go ahead and, again, I've already got a lot network established called basemap.ltn, and I'm going to use a Prairie Hawk Road network that I've got here. We'll go ahead and maybe label in the areas for the system. We're going to have it draw some setbacks with 30-foot front setback and 10s on the sides and the back. We're going to also go ahead and have building placements in here. So now as LotNet is going, we also have the ability to place buildings. And inside of this, I'm saying, yep, I want to have a building pad drawn, and it's going to go on my lot_BLD layer. I've got a symbol, and actually in this case, I'm going to be placing a house symbol. So I've got a 52 by 28 foot dimension house, and we'll go ahead and set that up with a building pad width of 52 feet and a depth of 28 feet. And if for some reason we can't fit a house that size on our lot, maybe we'll go ahead and put in another one. And we'll say that we want to have it in as a 40 by 40 house footprint. And maybe if we can't fit that, maybe we can add in another one, which would be maybe a smaller house. So let's make it a 30 by 40 house, and so make it a little bit thinner than it is deep. So this gives us the ability to choose different house dimensions or pad dimensions to place based on the size of lots that are created. By default, we're going to try this larger one, but if we can't get it, we'll start tapering down into the smaller houses that have been defined in the system. So we've got our building placement settings done, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose OK on this. And we'll just go ahead then and sort of proceed through our menu. So I've got my settings established. Now I just want to go ahead and choose my lot network boundary. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it. And this is going to be the parcel boundary that we drew in earlier through field to finish. We're going to go ahead and continue on and take a look at my sub-areas now. So again, here's one of the new features inside of Carlson 2009. So I'm going to tag these sub-areas. And I go out and grab maybe this polyline right in here. We'll call it an area category called green space. And the description for this one, I'll just call this green space 1. We'll just press enter to rerun the command, and we'll pick up this guy right here. We'll keep it the same category called green space, and we'll call this green space 2. And we'll run the command one more time, and this time we'll get the polyline that we drew in earlier formed by my easement utility, or utility easement lines in my parcel boundary. And this area category, I'll just call it easement, and I'll call this utility easement 1. As a quick little sample description here. So with these areas of studies and now, as LotNet is going through and producing its lots, it's actually not going to form or try to form any lots inside of each of these areas. These are basically exclusion areas now that have been set up. And another great example or work for this is if you have wetlands that you can't disturb, you can sort of draw in where your wetland perimeter is at and then use these tagged areas to prevent LotNet from trying to reach into them and design the lots in there. So we've got the start of all of our data in here now, so I'm just going to continue on, and we're going to work into lot networks with our roadway network routine. So I've got each of my roads already assigned in here. I've taken a look at all the different intersections. We've got a cul-de-sac that's going to be occurring in this area. I'll take a look briefly at the settings, and again, we're going to be creating the lots. We're going to target them with a 1 acre lot size in mind with a minimum of 100-foot frontage. And we have different, how far can we go in terms of the depth of the lots, what's the minimum back distance we're going to allow, what should we do with the remainder, should we check the building placement, take a look at all, again, these building placement settings, and we'll just go ahead and choose OK on all this and get ready to go. So when I've got all my settings in here, I'm just going to go ahead and process this. And LotNET will basically go through then and start to lay out all the lots in my subdivision. And this will take a few seconds. There's a lot of lots going to be created in here. So I guess Gary and or Dave, how are we doing for questions?
Yeah, we're in good shape. One of them, when you showed the aerial, the question was, can we record that as a movie? And my answer was, not that I'm aware of within Carlson, but with another utility like maybe Camtasia or something, you probably could. Is that?
Yeah, that would be a fair statement.
Okay, good. Let's see. There was a question about IntelliCAD adding icons to the pull-down menus, when that might happen, and I said I really wasn't sure, but probably in the next major release, which I believe could be this fall or early spring.
That's very possible. Yeah, there is, that does actually bring up a few of the subtle differences. There are some things that, IntelliCAD is not a perfect copy of AutoCAD, and maybe nor should it in my mind. So one of the things that we're looking for input from all of our clients is, hey, what can we do to improve IntelliCAD? We'll take those back to the IntelliCAD Technology Consortium and say, here's a list of things that our clients have been asking for, and we're looking for the input and the feedback, basically. So, yeah, icons are a great idea, and we'll certainly relay that on to our programming staff, and we'll see if we can get that incorporated. But if not, like I said, you got all the standard toolbars. You can put those in there. You have IntelliCAD does offer list customization, so you can detail and customize IntelliCAD pretty extensively for what it offers. And but we're always looking for, like I said, all those great features and feedback. So good questions so far.
Yep.
Any other questions right now, then?
Well, just the only other real quick one was another good one. Someone asked if they've installed Carlson 2009 onto AutoCAD, can they run the install again and install on IntelliCAD to try it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted everyone to be aware. We're fully supportive of that idea. Is go ahead and run the install again and try out that platform. And as you said, give us some feedback.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so you can see that we've gone through and placed a number of building, lots into my drawing here. So I just want to maybe take a look at a quick report so far, what we got in here. And right now we've got a total of 74 lots, and provides out the information for all the different areas that I've put in. If I want to take a look a little bit at maybe some of my sub-areas that I put in here, we'll just exit out of LotNet for just a minute. We'll say, yes, we want to save these changes. We can come back into our area layout, look at our LotNet sub-areas, and actually maybe report on them. And again, we have the categories listed in here, the area, the layers, and gives me the ability to sort of detail where my areas of study or my areas of interest are at inside of my site. Okay. So with that, I have we'll take a look in here. I'm just going to go into an isometric view inside of IntelliCAD, and I'm going to go into a preset view, and we'll just choose this one right in here, and we will rotate it up, and I will say OK on this. And if I do a zoom extent, you can take a look at some of these areas in here. Now, these building footprints are actually 3D shapes. So I have them all right now sitting down at 0. These have not been elevated. None of these are two-dimensional or three-dimensional in terms of their elevation. But the building pads, the blocks, I'll take a look at how we got to that here in just a minute, is back underneath my settings, and I take a look at my building placements. I said use this symbol, this house symbol, and it was a 52 by 28 block, basically, and I went in and created a house symbol that was this dimension and made it 3D in nature. So the symbols that you're placing into your site can be 3D. You don't have to live in the flat 2D world. And again, Carlson provides the ability to place this information in so you can get an idea of how your site's going to look when you're going through and placing it. The other thing that I should mention is this is a very simple block symbol, a very simple house symbol. I know there's a lot more sophisticated house symbols that are out there. You can certainly use them if you choose to. Just be aware that the more data that you pump into the block, the more, I guess, I can't say bloated, but bigger, and your drawing size is going to get larger and larger. So just be careful of that. So So it does provide, like I said, some pretty neat functionality, moving your site from the 2D world in through the 3D world. So we've got all of our lots in here, and like I said, these are all sort of two-dimensional in nature. And I'm going to go ahead now and jump quickly into the 3D world. So we're going to go in and we're going to elevate each of these with our road net routine. So I'm going to go back into roads and choose my road network option. We haven't really talked too much about roadway network yet. And we'll bring up on the Prairie Hawk road network. And inside here, again, here's where all my data is occurring. And if I take a look at my settings, I'm going to go ahead and tie into existing, and I'm going to output what's called a roads surface model underneath my what's new folder. And I'm going to also go ahead and take a look. I'm going to turn my contours off. I don't need to see those right now. I can always bring those in later on. And same thing for my merge. I'm going to merge the roadway network in with the existing ground, and we're going to form a merged surface model in here. And here's where we're going to elevate the paths and elevate the lots. So elevating the lots was available inside of Carlson 2008, and we're going to base it on the back of curve, and we're going to elevate, maybe in this case, the setbacks. So we're not going to elevate the lot lines themselves. We're going to elevate the setback lines. This is just an option. Some people like it, some people don't. I'll just throw it out there as an option, and we'll say OK on this. And then the same thing with the paths. We've got 2D pad power lines that are in here, so if I take a look, we can also elevate the building paths with a different set of grading rules than the lots have themselves. So, again, lots of functionality in here, and we'll just go ahead and choose OK. And I'll just go ahead and process this. And we'll say OK, and then just go. So actually, RoadNet will now go through and form all the intersections for me, the four-way intersections that down in sort of the southeast corner of the site, the roundabout that's sort of in the middle northeast site, the T intersections that are up there, the cul-de-sacs. It's going to go through and elevate all the different paths and the building setbacks, and then get me a 3D model that I can work with and do some more grading work on. So as we're going through, we'll wait for this to finish up here. You can see the graded lines coming in. And we'll go ahead and take a look at this here sort of three-dimensionally in just a moment. And we're now at the command prompt. So as we've gone through, I'm going to just simply exit out of RoadNet for just a moment, and let's maybe save our changes. And we'll take a look at the site now sort of three-dimensionally through a view menu, and we'll just choose our 3D viewer window. And we'll take a look at all these entities right in here. And you can see we do have a grade change from 703 to 740 feet in elevation. And as we rotate around or change in the XY plane, you can start to see some of the elevation characteristics that are going on in here. And again, we'll take a look. So as I exaggerate the vertical scale, again, you can see how some of these elevation changes are occurring. And is this what I would consider the ultimate in terms of my graded model? Maybe, maybe not. I guess as the designer, I would need to go through and start to evaluate, does this make sense? And if not, then I can make my changes and I can tweak and analyze the design to suit my specific requirements. But for the sake of today's presentation, we do have a fairly good representation of what I want the site to look like, so we'll just continue on and look at the surface now in sort of a 3D surface viewer window. So if I go into view and do a surface 3D viewer window, we'll take a look now. We do in fact have this merged surface model, and we take a look at it, and you can start to see how the roads are stitched into the rest of the site that was brought in through our land XML file. So again, a lot of different capability in here, sort of showing what each of these areas look like, and gives you the ability to sort of zoom and pan around and see if you've got any other areas of concern that need to be addressed. Okay.
Ladd?
Yes.
Did you want to make a quick question or two? Does that work for you, or?
You bet. Fire away.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just while you're here, so while it's a fresh question, is the question about lots around the cul-de-sac. Do you know why there were no lots generated in that area?
I believe it was due to this exclusion area. We started down in here, sort of wrapped our way around, came around, and basically ran into this whole area that just for some odd reason, it didn't pick itself back up. I think we came to the end of this road and then didn't continue back on. So I don't know the exact algorithm. There is an option in here, I can talk about it in just a minute, which gives me the ability inside of my area layout menu to go in and do a subdivide area. And I was running into a small little problem earlier, a minor technical difficulty, let me just say, that was preventing this little area from actually finishing out, and it might be due to this real quick little sliver that I had in here when I offset this power line right into my iron pin. Because I have this little sliver, I'm guessing that's what's happening here. So if we need to, we can go ahead and take a look at that. It might also be due to sort of the funny regions that were formed between my right-of-way or my easement and the roads, and it's possible. So we've got some things that we're looking at of what might be causing that particular problem. But in just a little bit, I'll sort of show you how we can subdivide this area with just the subdivide area command inside of LotNET.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Don't want to take you off track of what you were going to show. I just wanted to
Other
bring that one up. And then one more quick one is, well, not a quick one, so let's not get into the detail of it. We may have to follow up. But the question was just about, the question literally is, how would you translate those center lines and profiles into continuous plan and profile sheets? Since it appears your center lines start and stop at the roundabout, also, how do you show profile beyond the end of the cul-de-sac? So, again, I think too much, I don't want to pull you off track, but some questions that we could maybe address at the end, or I know there's an upcoming webinar on generating plan and profile and stuff as well. So.
Yeah, one way to generate continuous plan and profile sheets up through the roundabout, one way to do it actually is just to make another center line. That is a center line that is what would be the center line for your sheets, and you can go through and say, I want my center line to start maybe down here at this part of my site, come up and basically run right through the roundabout and over and around and back over here and even loop all the way out. So this, that alignment or that center line could be used as the formation for all the sheets, and then you would get very continuous looking sheets throughout there, and then it would just be a matter of freezing particular layers. And for profiles through the end of the cul-de-sac, we might have to defer on that one a little bit. We would have to basically go through and tack in some additional profile data into the profile for this center line. So these can be done. They're going to sort of go beyond the scope of today's presentation, but you can certainly work with that going through your project designs.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Hey, Ladd, real quick, what version of IntelliCAD are you running? Is this a beta version, or is this the one that ships with the 2009?
This is the one that ships with 2009. I did have a release coming up. We do actually have some I do have a not quite release. Basically, the version of IntelliCAD that's in here right now is the 6.4 that ships with the software. So the IntelliCAD engine itself is basically what comes with the software, and I've got a few things that are coming in line in terms of the ability to work with line XML files a little better than the actual official release. So I've got a few little, I guess, files in progress right now, but basically it's whatever is coming right out of the box. Okay, so with that, one of the last things I want to talk about here today, and then we'll open up for some more questions, is some of the new features in our design pad template. So I'm going to go through and maybe we'll just use this little area right down in here that hasn't been touched right now as the basis for what we'll be talking about. And I'm just going to make a few quick layers, so just run these at the command prompt. I'm going to make a layer, and we'll make a layer called 1. We'll make another layer called 2, and I could probably just separate these with commas. And I'll just make another one, I'll call it 3. And I'll just put in a maybe rectangular building pad. And we'll just put it in like this, right about in here. And then I'll just run a quick array on this to sort of show you the functionality that I'm trying to get to. And we'll pick off this entity as what we want to array. We'll make it a rectangular 3x3 array. And I'll just go ahead and array it basically out in this, about right there. So maybe I've got a series of building pads that are on my site. This could be a series of offices and parking lots and detention ponds. Could be a number of different things. And I'm going to just go ahead and change some of the layers in here through a change property command, and I'll pick off maybe each of these three layers, or these three, and we'll put those on a layer called 1. And we'll go ahead and do the same operation for this, and this, and this, and this. And we'll put these on a layer called 2. Okay? So I've basically got 3 different layers, and then the outliers out here are on layer 3. So what I'm going to do now is go into my design pad template underneath my surface menu, and we'll take a look at design pad template. And in here, I have the ability now to process multiple pad polylines. And when we're doing this, we're going to basically tie these things into a surface model. And I'm going to go ahead and maybe round my exterior corners. If I got existing pads that are in here, we can erase those entities if I choose to. But what I want to do is take a look at the setup for my multiple pad polylines. And in here, I've basically already set up, actually we'll go ahead and remove this guy out of there. We don't want that one. But for and we'll move this one up. Basically, this gives me the ability to process pads in various phases. So I can say, hey, I want things that are on layer 1. I'm going to process those before I get into layer 2. And then for those will be processed before I get into layer 3. And then I can assign different cut and fill slopes for each of my different layer classifications. So I've got this information saved in here. This is what I want. I'll just go ahead and choose OK. And when I run the routine, we're going to tie this into, for example, maybe my merged surface model that I built earlier with RoadNet. And we'll just go ahead and window out each of these pad polylines. And these were drawn at elevation 0. So what will happen in here now is we'll take a look at the center, at the lowest depth, I believe, of that region according to my surface model. And then it's telling me what do you want to set that pad elevation to. And for the sake of argument here, let's set this to maybe an elevation of 712 feet. And it'll project its slopes. It'll then say, what's the next one? So these first 3 were these diagonals were on layer 1. So we'll go ahead and maybe set this one down to an elevation at maybe 708. And you can see I got different slopes coming in. And we'll make this one maybe at 720. And then it'll move on to the next classification, which is the layer 2 grouping. So we'll go ahead and maybe set this down at elevation 700. And I'm just making up some numbers in here. We'll take a look at these. And we'll put this one at maybe 700 again. And as we're working through, one of the things that you'll see is that the software will go through, and if the intersections happen to overlap one another, they'll tie themselves off, and they're sort of self-aware of each other. So we'll go ahead and we'll put in this next one at, let's say 715. So I'm doing some pads and some ponds, and then we'll break and get rid of these last few in here. We'll say maybe 708 again, and we'll just finish this up, and we'll make this guy at 705, and we'll do one more at 700. Okay. So you can see how these different pads are being placed into my site. We'll get a report volume in here between what my cut and fills are at based on this data, and let's go ahead and choose exit on this. And then it'll ask me, do I want to write the final triangulation surface to a file, and we'll say yes. And I'll call this merged pad, or merged with pad, let's say, merged pad. And when we take a look now at our Surface 3D viewer, you'll see that we actually have these in here. So if I go into my Surface 3D viewer window and go out and grab my merged pad tin and take a look at it, and you can sort of see how we've got each of these pads that are in here now sort of superimposed and laid out onto the site, and we have the the ability to take a look at them sort of in that free-form view. So again, for maybe detention pond design or for doing buildings with parking lots, again, the multiple pad template option provides the ability to sort of do some really unique things very easily inside of the software environment. So that was about the bulk of what I wanted to show. Are there any other questions that I can answer right now, Gary and or Dave?
The question queue is in good shape. I just wanted to kind of reiterate and reemphasize. That was a great example you went through, and this last one, all the stuff today was really good. This last one really is stunning. This is kind of a holy grail of grading that's been sought after for a long period of time, and the fact that we're doing it so easily it really is extraordinary. I just kind of wanted to jump in there and it's really a remarkable thing that as each surface is being built, it's being held in memory, so the next ones see that temporary intermediate surface and grade to it. Mm-hmm. And it's just you did it so smoothly and subtly and in your calm voice that I kind of had to throw in how remarkable actually that is. But great job. Other than that, let me see. Can we see your road templates for the RoadNet?
Oh, sure.
See your templates.
Yeah, my template actually that I use actually was a sample template that we ship with the software. So if anybody who's out there that wants to try this, you can come right into Road Network, and I've used the same roadway template for all these, so I can just pick on any one of these alignments in here, click on Edit, and I just chose the demo template file that I created earlier. So if we want to take a look at this, we'll just choose Edit. And in here, you can see I've just got some standard 12-foot driving lanes with 2% crowns. I've got some curb and gutter, and got some asphalt and stone that's in here, and just a little shoulder material. I didn't even put in a sidewalk. But yeah, this is just a standard, like I said, the standard demo template that comes with the software, and gives you the ability to choose what your cut and fill slopes are going to be, where you want your super elevations to occur if you're doing that. So nothing too terribly fancy in here, but it does give you sort of a good idea of what's going on for all of these. And if we take a look with the templating routines, again, the output section files that are in here, we can go ahead and we can take a look at each of the intersections. So if I got an intersection down here, this four-way, you can see the different intersection points that are occurring in here, which one is going to be the primary versus the secondary road. What do you want to have for each of the different curve returns? Do you want to control these individually, yes or no? It's, again, you have a choice in here of what you can work with. And again, a lot of power in a very compact little area with the dock dialog boxes over here on the left, and makes it really nice for getting a lot of work done in a very short amount of time.
We got a couple more questions coming in, Ladd. First one is if the pads would have been, if you move one of the pads, will it update the slope lines using the predefined order criteria?
That's a good question. Actually, I haven't even tested that, so we're just going to sort of throw caution to the wind here. We'll just go ahead and say Edit Pad Template, and we'll just go ahead and pick the pad power line, and let's take a look in here at that guy. And I don't know if I can pick that guy, so this one may not, but I certainly know that if you go in and if you've drawn just a single pad template with the design pad template routine and then use Edit Pad Template, that yes, it would hold and keep itself dynamically changing to the underlying surface model.
Okay.
Now it could also be that I simply just have let's try a quick little change in my viewport here. I'm just going to go ahead and change a small little part of my resolution and take a look and see if I can get into maybe this guy underneath. So if I go under Surface and then Edit Pad Template, it might be just because I couldn't get to it. Okay, so there it is, and looks like it didn't hold that. So we'll have to use this, and I've just got, maybe this was a group 1-to-1. I believe that's what that one actually was. We'll say okay, and if I move the pad and pick him over there, and then
it's in there at 0 though, Ladd, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, that could be it. All right, so I just have to set up what I want it to be, so maybe 705, let's just say, and I'll go ahead and set my surface back in here as my merged surface model, and we'll reprocess that. Okay.
I think it's my thought on this. I haven't experimented with this either, but my thinking would be if the footprints were in there at elevation, which actually was another one of our questions. So you had drawn them at 0. As you went around, you assigned them all elevations. You could have drawn them in 3D or moved them to 3D. And another part of the question someone asked is, do they have
I mentioned that here. Let me just go ahead and just do one other quick thing because, yeah, and as it turns out, if I go ahead and just freeze off maybe just the layer that these house footprints are on, you can see actually that from my LotNet, with it placing the building pads in here, if I go in and just take a look and list this particular polyline, you can see it actually has the Z coordinates established from the grading rules of RoadNet. And so this actually already is at elevation according to the grading rules that we've established, and I could go through and basically start to perform grading operations off of each of these pads. I just chose a multiple, pad scenario in here just so you could sort of see how they all, different rules and criteria. But you can go through and say, all these pads are on one layer, maybe my lot DLDG layer, so I can go through and process all these and using the grading rules and just have them go through and do in bulk this entire site.
Right, and then for the 9 that you had nested there, my thinking would be is if you did that and processed and then you decided, to try something else, like the person asked if you move one, my sense would be move the one pad template, the footprint essentially, and then just reprocess them again. Yeah, I don't think when you have 9 of them that are all grading into each other, which it successfully did, I don't think you can then move one of them and have all 9 of them reprocess. But that's something that we'll have to experiment with.
Yeah, I believe that is actually correct. So,
another question, real quick here: what version of LandXML are we using?
Right now, we're actually writing the 1.0 schema. We will import the 1.1 schema. So anything, like I said, we're basically writing the 1.0, but we're reading and writing anything that's been produced to date so far. I do know there's movement afoot to come out with a 1.2 scheme at some point, so I'm sure that'll be on our horizon at some point in the future. So that's the answer to that question.
Okay, thank you. And
a question about the roundabout. I'm not sure specifically what about the roundabout. It says we'd like you to talk a little bit more about the roundabout design.
Okay. And I just want to jump in that from 2 weeks ago, we do have a full webinar on the advanced designs with roundabouts and knuckles and so on. So I would urge Bruce who wrote that question, take as much time as you want, of course, Ladd, but I just want the person who asked the question to know there's a full 1-hour webinar on that topic that's up on the website.
Yep. And actually the roundabout was actually pretty simple. I just drew in a circle. The way to form it is I just draw in a circle, and you can just draw in any old circle that you want. And from there you can just go into my edit routine and go into polylines, and you say entities to polylines, and just pick on that circle. And then, because it's now a polyline, I just went in and converted it into an alignment. So I went into centerline, and I just said, hey, I want to go and draw our polyline to centerline file. So I can just call this maybe round 2, and we'll just go ahead and pick on, give it a starting station, and we'll just pick on this polyline right in here. And it's now basically a centerline alignment. And if I simply double-click on it now, because it is a centerline, you can see the centerline input editor come up, and I can make changes to it if I want to, or because maybe I want to make some different designs in here, I can just simply come in and draw on another one and do different scenarios in here. And the only real significant criteria for using roundabouts inside of RoadNet is that if I just take a look and do a polyline edit on this circle, the real big crux of the matter here, if I choose an edit, is my starting point of my circle is right at the x-axis in my CAD direction, my CAD drawing. This little starting point cannot occur or not fall inside of a roadway intersection, because we need to basically be able to form the intersection in a continuous hunk. So what I did in this particular scenario is my roadway polyline, the starting point is actually up here in the northeast corner. So I started up here, it's outside of my intersection area, wraps it around, and I'm able to form all the intersections without any problems. Okay. Other questions on that? Or any other questions? Bruce Gary and or Dave?
I don't see any more. Gary?
No, we're in good shape. We got a note that the word evidently is IntelliCAD will be adding icons in the 7.0, and tentatively we're looking at next spring or summer time frame. So we'll keep you posted as that develops. Keep an eye on the website and stay in touch with us. And of course, in general, I just want to throw in carlsonsw.com. Keep your eye on that. All of our webinars are posted and recorded. Today's will be up there probably by this afternoon or tomorrow. If you want to have people see it that didn't get to. Great job on everything.
Just two more quick little things we'll talk about here briefly, and then I'll turn it loose. So the last thing I want to do is just take a look at my drawing setup in here. Now we've got all of our data in here so far. I want to go ahead and maybe assign all this information out into maybe a state plane 83 system. And I happen to know, for example, that this is an Illinois East data set. So I'm going to go up and find it in my list here. And we're going to go up and set it up as a U.S. survey foot projection zone. We'll just choose OK. And with my survey zone set in here now, I'm going to go ahead and actually sort of reference this into a polyline file, all my data that's in here so far. And I'll just go ahead and write this out into, take a look down the command prompt into the Google format. So if I want to write out a Prairie Hawk, if I can spell it right, KML file, I'll just go ahead and window out all these objects in here, and we'll take a look at this inside of the viewer here. I'll say, no, I don't want to see this, use the elevations of my drawing inside of Google Earth. But we'll go ahead and display it. Yes, we do want to see it right now. And this will take us right into the area of the world where this particular project site is at. So if you have, again, those presentations that you need to make to governing agencies, or if you want to see how the site's going to look, it'll, again, give you the ability to take this right into the world and see how we've got roads, intersecting roads, and areas, and abutting different areas, and the different utility lines that we've got in here. So again, just one more presentation tool that you have to work with, and you can see again in here my pads that have been laid in here for me. So it gives you again a really great visualization tool in an environment that is certainly not the vector world of AutoCAD or IntelliCAD. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut down my IntelliCAD in here right now. I just have one quick more slide to show before we shut down the meeting for today. So I guess I would like to thank everybody for coming and attending. We'll have people online answering questions, and we'll certainly follow up with any questions that we can't get to today. I did want to mention that if anybody is interested in taking a look at all the new features that can be found inside of Carlson Civil 2009, here's the web address for it. And if anybody is interested about IntelliCAD, again, we have another page specifically talking about the IntelliCAD engine that we ship with the software. So any other last-minute questions?
Just a request. I don't know if you shut the software down or minimized it, but someone asked if you could do another 3D flyover with your developed site and the image. I don't know if it's too late.
Okay. Yeah, I would. Let me just back up here. I can't remember if I saved my changes or not. Let's take a look. I'll go ahead and just bring it back open here. And
while you're doing that, I was looking at the question queue. I missed the command you used. I'm sorry, Ladd, to output that to the Google Earth format.
That is underneath our write polyline file command. There's a write polyline file option. So there is a command line option in here called Google. You can also send this out to the TopCon file format, for example. So you want to write a TopCon LN3 file for machine control work. There's just different options in here for writing out these polyline files. Take a look at the site now, sort of with everything sort of all superimposed. If I come back into my surface menu, into my 3D views, and my surface 3D flyover, we'll go out and grab that tip image again, and go ahead and grab my Prairie Hawk and say open it up, and we'll go ahead and just choose OK, and we will start it off maybe right in here, looking in this direction, and we'll go grab my merged tin pad surface model that has everything all sort of superimposed on it. And again, you can sort of see now the roads going through my site, and the pads that we've got coming up in here all basically put into place, and gives you an idea of how this is sort of going to look with that aerial image draped onto it.
Great, thanks very much. comment. Someone had picked up the last week's webinar is not up there yet, and I appreciate that. Because we had those sound issues at the beginning, which was our first time we've run into that, we're doing a little patchwork to kind of redo the sound at the beginning. So that one should be up there very soon. That was last week, Bruce's on hydrology for a commercial site, which was really excellent, and that should be up there very soon. We just wanted to fix the sound at the beginning. So.
Okay. I should mention one of the other brand new features we haven't even talked about, and I think, Gary, you've got something coming up on this in 2 weeks, is our partnership with HydroCAD. So we've got even more new features. Again, there's literally over 200 features that have put into Carlson 2009, so there's a lot of new stuff, and we can't go through it all, obviously, in one sitting, but a lot of new things. So we're talking on and off throughout the entire year about all the different things that are new and available inside of Carlson Civil.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I think we're about ready to wrap it up here. So again, thank you everybody for coming and attending, and if there are any questions, feel free to get a hold of either Gary or Dave or myself, and we will do our best to answer them for you.
Great job, Ladd.
All right, thank you.